Hey, what's going on? Good afternoon for me. Noon should be coming for people back home. Uh, this is the last day of 2025. This is the 365th day of 2025. And um, I wanted to jump on and have a quick conversation, right? I know New Year's is something that a lot of people like to make New Year's resolutions. A lot of people like to make plans and it's a time where um it's a time where they have a lot of people make plans to quote unquote do things different, right? So you see during this time, everybody talking about, oh, I'm not taking something into the new year, or I'm leaving it in this past year, or this, that, and the third, right? What I wanted to do is come on here and talk about, one second. Wanted to come on here and have a conversation about, that the reality that is that change is not going to happen unless you change something. And what do I mean by that? Right? Every new year, a lot of people make those New Year's resolutions. They talk about stuff. They talk about things that they want to change, things that they will change. And some people are successful with it, and some people, a lot of those plans fall by the wayside. Why is that important to discuss, right? There's nothing wrong with desiring change. Change happens for a lot of different reasons. Some change happen because people get frustrated with the status quo. Some change happen out of necessity, right? Some change happen because stuff happens. Stuff just happens, right? So that's why I wanted to talk about that going into the new year, especially dealing with change and seeking things better. And as I've been speaking on a lot of things about what's been going on from a political standpoint, from an accountability standpoint, from a transparency standpoint, change will not happen if we stay with the status quo. Change won't happen when we stay with the status quo. Leaving this year, 2025, going into 2026, right? We have to be able to be honest with ourselves, do inventories, and really see what areas we really need to change. And what are we willing to do to get that change? Because change is not just going to happen because we wanted to change. Change happens when you decide to do the small things, when you decide to make those changes. And that is so important, right? I can make all of the New Year's resolution about losing weight that I want to. But if I don't change my diet, if I don't change how my exercise routine, if I don't change those small things and I just stay doing what I was doing, I won't see the change. I won't. And that's what I wanted to challenge us, for those people who are really tired. I've been sharing information that people can see to raise awareness on what actually been going on. The key is not to become complacent with the status quo, right? I made a post this morning about political grifting, right? And it goes into describing what political grifting is. And political grifting is just people using the elected office for their own personal gain, right? There's a widespread evidence of that has been going on for a long time throughout politics in America, but especially when we start talking about Perry County, right? But also it goes on in other areas too. So it's not just unique to Perry County. So I wanted to come on and I wanted to, I made that post just so education purposes. Why? The reason why is what I'm learning is that there's a lot of people that don't have an understanding of who's responsible for what. And a lot of that comes from, my mama always used to say, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. And when I use the term ignorance, I'm not calling people ignorant. What I am saying is there's a lot of people that just don't know and don't understand who's responsible for what. For example, with me talking about things that are at the county level, right? the Perry County Commission or the county commission or the county government are the ones responsible for that. So, for example, I'm using Perry County because I talk about it all the time, but if you have a water issue in Perry County and you live in the county area outside of a municipality area, outside of the city limits of Marion or the city limits of Uniontown, right? The Perry County Water Authority is the organization or the entity that's responsible for the water that is in Perry County outside of the city limits. If you live within the city limits, then in Marion is the city of Marion, and then in Uniontown is the Uniontown Water Authority, Uniontown Water Board, right? And a lot of people who may live in the city may be thinking that the county is responsible for that, and just understanding it. And a lot of that is because we have not, I have not seen a lot of effort to educate and inform the people or who's responsible for what. For example, the city council is responsible for passing the budget for the city. The county commission is responsible for passing the budget, approving the budget for the county. You hot, baby girl? All right. Approving it for the county. Let's start it off for you. They are the ones responsible for it, right? And it is key. It is critical to understand who's responsible for what. And the reason why it's critical and key to understand that is because once you understand who's responsible for what, that's when you know who to go ask questions for. That's when you know who's to hold accountable. And the reason why that so many y'all just heard some music. I just turned my car on, and that's the music. That's what I be jamming out to. But the reason why so many people, a lot of things go on because they have not informed the people on who's responsible for what, right? That is why I've been taking my own personal time, doing some research, finding information, and trying to share information so that we can raise the awareness and create a shared understanding in the community so people can understand what's going on, understand who's responsible for what, understand how this process goes. Why? Because I've seen for too long, I've seen those people that are in those positions that they have been elected to represent the people use those positions to abuse that authority and treat people not with the respect that they are due to ensure that they have an understanding. And that upsets me. And the reason why it upsets me is because it doesn't respect the intelligence and the individuals and the people within the community. How hard is it to explain to somebody how budget works? And I shared yesterday, and I talked about it yesterday, but the state of Alabama law code requires a county government to pass an annual budget. The law actually states that sometimes in September, they have to have a meeting and they have to approve a budget that has to be approved that said no later than October the 1st for the county to operate on. And then the law said that the budget, any amendments or changes to that budget has to be done through an affirmative vote. That means that they have to have a meeting that the county commissioners have to vote on, and the majority of them have to agree on it so them to make any changes, right? Yesterday, Albert Turner said in a post that, because somebody asked him under a post he made that they was asking about, they're hoping to see an update on the transparency of the 2026 audit, which I showed yesterday that the audit was changed from what they originally posted. Albert Turner said, well, they get a 10% variance to change it. That's not what the law say. And that type of stuff frustrates me. Why? Because when I first asked, he assumed that I didn't know about what budgets are. He assumed that because, you know, and that makes me upset, not because of me personally, well, because you don't even respect the people enough to tell them the truth. So changing the budget, silently changing the budget, was a direct violation of what Alabama law said. And that put the whole entire Perry County Commission at risk for violating law. And then I'm not going to be quiet about it. I'm not. Why? Because I will post later on today, I will post proof that the budget was changed. I have a link to the budget that when it was originally posted back in October on the Perry County website. I got a link, and in the link you'll see it say Perry County website. It'll see on the Perry County website where it coming from. Then I got the other one that was changed, and that you will see that it was changed later on. But there's no proof that they've voted on in any minutes in the for any change or any amendment to the budget. There's no proof that it was done in October or the November meeting or the December meeting. Right? And I'm gonna share it again. That what Alabama law said, what the actual Alabama law said from what the law said. Right? And why am I doing this? People want to know, why am I doing this? People want to know, why am I spending my time, energy, and effort to doing this? Why aren't you upset about it? Why are you okay with the status quo being the status quo? When you look around and you see the conditions, when you start looking at numbers and start looking at data and start doing analysis, you're like, wait a minute, something is not right. Instead of the young folks are leaving, they're leaving and not wanting to come back. You got people selling their homes right now because of the water situation in Marion and in Perry County. You got businesses that have closed their doors because they couldn't, of good conscience, continue to try to serve food because of the contaminated water. But everybody just said that's just how it is. Like, we got to get out of that, man. We got to really get out of that thinking. Like, seriously get out of that thinking. Just because it's been going on since I was a kid, that doesn't mean that it's acceptable now. That doesn't mean that it's acceptable now. And we really have to, you know, that's why I said change is not going to happen until we change something, right? That means changing our mindset. That means challenging the status quo. That means that for many of us, we have to sit down and take inventory and ask ourselves those hard questions. Like, really ask ourselves those hard questions. Ask ourselves those uncomfortable questions. Why am I okay with this? You know, I talked about it. I graduated high school from Greensboro High School in 1998, right? And about 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, I was sitting down thinking, and I was like, wait a minute. I went to Hatch, R.C. Hatch, for my kindergarten year in 1985. And then from 86 to 98, I was from first grade to 12th grade, I went to Greensboro. And I started to think about it. I said, wait a minute. My entire primary education, I went to segregated schools. And I thought about it. East and West Campus in Greensboro, that was a form of segregation that just stayed on. There was a compromise from when Alabama integrated their schools in the late 60s, going into the 70s. But it was okay, because that was the norm. And everybody, that's just how it was. We used to have two, I'll tell you how jacked up it was. Hold on. We used to have two campuses, East and West Campus. But when it went up to the state, it went up as one school. But we all played on the same sports, but we had a East Campus homecoming during basketball season, and we had a West Campus homecoming during football season. This was 28 years ago. This wasn't 40, 50 years ago. I went to a segregated school, but it was the norm, right? Because that's just how it was. We cannot continue to accept mediocrity, to accept being the bottom of the barrel because of we just allow the same people to just keep doing the same old, same old. and sitting around and being quiet about it, posting about it on Facebook, providing our opinion or whatever, is not going to change anything. I shared, and I'll share it again, but that was recently, Liscombe, Alabama, a judge ordered to remove the entire city council because of their dealings and what they were doing. Like, I want people to understand, just because we had elections, we just recently had elections, that don't mean that these mayors and city councils get to stay the full term. Because according to Alabama law, we can impeach them. They can be impeached. When there are laws, there are rules and regulations, laws that they have to abide by. They don't just get to do what they want to do. They don't just get to misappropriate federal funding or grants. They don't get to not abide by, not reply back to people requesting open records. They don't get to just do what they want to do. It is time out for us to stop remaining silent. People taking time to do the small things. And what I mean by the small things, it may take a little bit, but we got to start sending emails. We got to start submitting complaints. We got to start to raise awareness to these people that's not only at the local level, but at the state level, at the federal level, to get involved, to start coming and looking at stuff that we know that ain't been right. That's what we need to do. And it doesn't take much, right? I will take it upon myself to try to find as much information and share the information and present it in a way that is easily digestible, right? For example, for the Alabama Ethics Committee, right? They want you to provide names and all that stuff as far as who providing it. And you have to get, it's a complaint form, and you have to get it notarized, right? But there are some people that are notary public, a notary public, that's, well, people that notarize things. I may be misspeaking, but there are people that notarize things that we can partner with within the community that can notarize complaints if you want to sit it in, right? And if it costs an issue, we got people that can organize. We got people to come together to see what we can do to cover those costs. But we need those complaints submitted. Because for far too long, we have just been like, oh, people have been making Facebook posts. Listen, I'm telling you right now, complaints work. Not only complaints work, but there's a lot of different things. Listen, there's been so much evidence of misappropriation of federal funds. That right there is violation of federal law. People go to jail for that. Right? And I'm not playing. First of all, none of this is personal. But I want people to sit down and just sit down and think. Listen, I have been, and I'm just, from what I've been able to find, right? Because a lot of this is from what I've been able to locate. Since 2009, the last 15 to 17 years, entities within Perry County, a government entity like a water board or a city or a county, has gotten around safely, easily to say, about $60 million in grants. About $60 million. In the last 15, 17 years, what tangible results have you seen from $60 million coming into our area? What's the e-footprint got a $1.5 million on behalf of Perry County in 2021 to redo our broadband infrastructure. Have anybody seen any work being done according to e-footprint to help out with the broadband issues, the broadband infrastructure? Right? But when it was put out, they partnered with on behalf. They submitted the grant to ADECA on behalf of Perry County. I've already reported. I've already shared about how $30 million has been directly to Uniontown between 2009 and 2023. Like, all of this money is coming. They're announcing money again coming for the Inez Bennett, the Bennett and King Center. That is the old National Guard Center, right? That $500,000 Terry Sewell announced. Representative Terry Sewell announced that she got $3.2 million coming to the Black Belt, and $500,000 coming for that center. You know, back in the day, you know, I shared another post. Albert Turner said he was gonna get $10 million to, you know, back. It was supposed to be the Obama Wellness and Fitness Center. Then it was named to the Bennett, Inez Bennett Bennett and King Center. Then it was announced that they was gonna get. Listen, I'll tell you, I'm gonna show it. It was announced when they got some of that COVID money that $130,000 was gonna go to that center, right? And I got receipts, and I will show it. Then there was another grant that was supposed to announce, like $160,000 that was supposed to go. But if you go to that building, what work has been done on it? What work has been done on the old National Guard in Marion? What works? And then out of all of this money, out of all of this funding, that these grandiose announcements of funding, where have anybody seen any post about the bid, the amount of the bid, any post about the company that got the bid, any post about the actual cost of the completion of it? How many times have you seen any of that? Right? How many times? Just seriously, how many times? And the thing is, we have so many people. The status quo. I say the status quo. I would say this: the people that has been in positions of the decision makers have been completely comfortable with people not asking questions. Right? I've been labeled an outsider. I've been called, you know, my military service has been made fun of. And I don't think I'm asking basic questions. That's what I'm doing, asking basic questions. And I can do a little research. Right? And it's just all about, hey, well, if somebody make a claim that, hey, this is what it is. Okay. What does Alabama, is it allowed in the state of Alabama? Can you do X, Y, and Z? And that's all I did when they made the thing about the budget. I went and looked, and Alabama law said that no, in order for any change, it's not a 10% variance. See, this is how I want to show people how people will use certain things to manipulate people, right? You can use a 10% variance not in your budget, but in what you pay. You can flex around that, but not if you're making any changes to allocations, right? You can't do it. And the question that comes in, why don't you do all of that work prior to? Everything has just been done reactionary. All of these empty promises. Look, Cedar Bluff Road in Uniontown, still no work done. They put them signs up in the beginning of November. Oh, you just got to wait on the weather. The weather, you know, we got to wait on the weather. Man, listen, political theater. Because that initial announcement was 2 years ago. Political theater. You know, now all of a sudden, you know, they talk about land grants, and now that's the big thing that you know, that the commissioner is working on. You know, he's concerned about housing and the problem with housing. Okay. Yeah, right. Repeat the same thing, because the same language was used back in 2014 when they had the hotel built. It's just a repeat thing. The repeat thing. And I just hope people wake up. I really hope people wake up. Because I would tell y'all, I talked about it the other day. I would be shocked if I'm misproven. But there would be large sums of money donated to to political organizations and nonprofit political organizations and other entities within Perry County around the April and May timeframe for the elections. Because the same thing happened in 2022 when they had the race for District 23, Senate race for District 23. The same thing happened. I was able to show, and I showed on my other live, that was $75,000 dumped between April and July, the end of April and July of 2022, around election time. And I wonder why, right? I'm telling you why. The reason why is because that's how they quote unquote inject their influence and their resources into politics. Because they allegedly, and it's already been known, I'm telling you right now, if you go and Google right now, voter fraud, Perry County, just watch how many articles pop up about voter fraud or alleged voter fraud with absentee ballots. Right? And I just tell people this, man. I'm 100% not against absentee ballots. I'm not. I do have a problem with people are using resources to pay people for stuff. And I would tell people political grifting. In my post that I made, one of the things is they talked about how red flags with nonprofit organizations, how certain nonprofit organizations get favoritism. Right? And that's why I highlighted an unusual change in the budget from last year, from 2024, 2025 to last year, with Sowing Seeds of Hope getting allocated from going from $20,000 or $20,000 in 2024, 2025 up to $75,000 in 2025, 2026. Why just to that organization? When that organization, part of their mission is to pay people utilities. I want y'all to see that. Just see it. The county government allocates funding to go to a nonprofit that pays for utilities. You increase it because you did it on the budget to $75,000. Then you made an announcement that you found another $25,000. So you go from $20,000 to $100,000 during an election year to go to a nonprofit organization to pay for utilities. Now, my question is, this is not against Sowing Seeds of Hope, but what report have you seen of the amount of money that is given by Perry County that Sowing Seeds of Hope has took that said amount and how much went to support the people in Perry County? So if in 2024, if Perry County government gave Sowing Seeds of Hope $20,000, Sowing Seeds of Hope should be able to provide a report to show that, hey, over the year, we have donated $19,922 to people that live within Perry County. Now, that is transparency. Now, that's what people can trust. But just to up and give, go from 20,000 to 100,000 during an election year, and people just be okay with it? No, I called Buddha Chatter when I saw it. And I made a post on November the 8th about it on my page. Right? And that's the thing that this is why I'm passionate about it. Because when I see stuff like that, right, people, I would tell you that I'm speaking to the people who defend this foolishness. Because they may be the ones benefiting from having their utilities paid by Sowing Seeds of Hope. I'm not against it. I'm against you supporting buffoonery just because you getting something out of it. Do y'all understand that? Right? And I want the people to understand this too. Some will get upset, and I would just say this: God bless you. Until we change our mindset of settling for crumbs and looking for handouts, people like this, the same type of people, will continue to be in positions of power because they will play that against you. They will give you scraps, give you crumbs, give you $20, $30, $40, $50 for a vote. Donate money to give the appearance that they're giving money so you can get your light bill paid. You can get some money to go on your bills. Right? Pander to things when, for example, I'm glad I thought about this. I want people to understand we had a government shutdown. The government shutdown was ended with a continuing resolution. A continuing resolution basically said, hey, we'll agree to fund the government up to the next date. The continuing resolution goes to January the 30th. So at the end of this month, in 30 days, it's a potential that there'll be another government shutdown. And I'm going to tell you what you're going to hear. You're going to hear people talking about SNAP benefits. You're going to hear people talking about all of these other things, right? That play on the emotional strings of rural and poor areas, right? But what you don't hear is, you don't hear anything about people being transparent about the actual revenue that we got coming in. Like they don't. Like they just don't. Like, and they use, I would tell you, go in. I just want people to really see certain stuff. I would make a post, but I just want people, they use like the COVID money, right? When they got the COVID money, the $1,730,000 they got in COVID money, they got additional $200,000 in COVID money to redo the